As-salamu Aleikum. Hope you're all doing well, inshallah. Ramadan is behind us. A lot of us feel a big spiritual boost during Ramadan, and then once Ramadan ends, that spiritual high just plummets, and we are back to our day-to-day lives. So let's talk, inshallah, about how we can carry that spirit of Ramadan through the rest of the year and how we can maintain that spiritual connection, inshallah. Of course, it's easier to be doing a lot more during Ramadan because it is a blessed month and so many people are striving to do the same thing. There are millions of people around the world striving to pray more, to fast, to go to the mosque and engage more in reading Quran and so on. So we can't expect to maintain the same level through the rest of the year, but we can try, inshallah, to sprinkle the fragrance of Ramadan throughout our year. So how can we do that, inshallah? First of all, let's talk about what is obligatory. Let's talk about our prayers. One thing that we need to focus on is fulfilling our obligations, right? Which includes our 5 daily prayers. So each one of us needs to evaluate and assess what our relationship with the 5 daily prayers currently is. Are we praying all 5 daily prayers on time consistently, or are we praying sometimes? Are we missing certain prayers? Are we praying late, and so on? We each need to do a self-evaluation and assessment. If you're not sure what your prayers look like, or if there's a certain pattern that you're missing or being late on, try to evaluate yourself for a period of time. Maybe take the next 30 days and do a complete assessment of yourself. Make note of every prayer and note when you pray them, if you've missed them, if you're praying them late, and then see if there are any patterns. You might realize that you consistently miss Fajr prayer, or you might realize you consistently miss the daytime prayers because you're out and about during the day. Once you see where the patterns are, try to evaluate what you can do to eliminate or minimize the distractions that come in the way of your prayer. For example, you might decide that you go to bed too late, which is why you're missing Fajr prayer consistently, so you make a plan to shift your sleep time slowly so that you can start catching Fajr prayer. Maybe during the day you decide to carry a prayer rug with you, prayer clothes with you so that you can be praying wherever you are. Or maybe you decide to not schedule certain things during the day so that you have time for prayer. So evaluate where you are at and evaluate where you can make changes and keep track of it day by day, week by week, month by month, and see your progress, inshallah. And hopefully your progress is going in the right direction, inshallah. Second, let's talk about our connection with the Quran. Ramadan is a month where many of us have Quran goals. We want to read a certain amount of pages a day, we want to stay connected, we want to be praying Taraweeh in the mosque and listening to Quran recitation and all of that. A lot of us have a plan in Ramadan for the Quran, but then outside of Ramadan, maybe we have no plan, right? So let's make a plan for the Quran outside of Ramadan. It can be as little as 1 page a day, something small and manageable that you know you can achieve. And try to implement ways for you to achieve it, whether you have a set time each day or you connect it to a certain prayer where you are reciting Quran. Another tip is to have your mushaf right by your bed, on your bedside table or somewhere, so that when you are coming to go to bed, you see the Quran and it reminds you, if you haven't recited a page yet that day, it reminds you to pick it up and recite that page before you go to bed. So inshallah you make a commitment not to end your day without reciting some Quran, even as little as 1 page, inshallah, taking a couple of minutes to recite, inshallah. There is no goal that is too little. Don't minimize the goodness that you can do, because subhanallah, that small goodness that you do day in and day out, it can really add up and rack up to a lot. So don't ever minimize any good deed, and don't ever tell yourself that it's too little of a goal, so what's the point in even doing it? Feed yourself positive talk, inshallah. Encourage yourself that every little small thing counts. So encourage yourself, even if 1 page a day, encourage yourself to do it, inshallah. And if you pick something easy and manageable like that, inshallah, when you do it the first day, the second day, the third day, you keep achieving that goal, it's a form of self-encouragement, inshallah, to keep going, because it makes you happy when you're achieving your goals, right? So inshallah, it encourages you to keep going. And maybe on some days where you feel like you have a little extra energy or time or capacity, maybe you decide to push yourself and do 2 pages, and that way you've doubled your goal on that day. So encourage yourself like that, like, wow, alhamdulillah, I doubled my goal on this day. Feed yourself positive encouragement, inshallah. Thirdly, let's talk about companionship. In Ramadan, there's this spiritual energy because a lot of us are doing the same thing, right? A lot of us are striving together. There's this vibe or energy that happens when other people around you are striving as well, right? It gives you a boost. And so try to find a boost with people like that outside of Ramadan. Look at your companionship. Do you have friends and family around you that that are also striving hard and trying to stay connected to Allah, try to spend more time with those people. If you don't feel that you have those certain people around you to stay connected with, then try to seek groups, whether at the mosque, whether at Islamic centers, or even online. Alhamdulillah, technology is a blessing in the sense that we can use it to stay connected to other people who are also striving for the sake of Allah. So try to find those groups that keep you connected to Allah, inshallah, because you'll encourage each other. If you're a bit down, they pull you up. If they're down, you're pulling them up. You're both encouraging each other, inshallah, for the sake of Allah. Okay, let's talk about having a weekly or a monthly Iman Booster day. So pick a day of the week or maybe one day in the month and call it something exciting, like your Iman Booster day, inshallah, and make it a day that you want to spend like a day you would spend in Ramadan. So try to strive extra hard that day and plan a day that you really want to dedicate to worship and striving and pushing yourself to do a little bit more to boost your Iman, inshallah. So for example, you might decide to wake up earlier for Fajr time, to have time to pray 2 rak'ahs of Tahajjud prayer and recite a little bit of Quran, then pray Fajr, do some dhikr, and maybe you decide to learn a new surah that day, inshallah. Pick things to focus on that will help connect you to Allah and give you that little Iman boost. So try to dedicate a day. You might even decide to fast that day, so you really embody the spirit of Ramadan, inshallah, and you're really mindful of what you're doing and how you're spending that day, inshallah. So try to pick a day. It could be once a week, it could be once a month. Do something that you feel is easy, manageable, achievable, and dedicate that day as your Iman booster day, inshallah. Number 5, consistency is super important. We have a beautiful hadith that tells us, the Prophet ﷺ says, take up good deeds only as much as you are able to, for the best of deeds are those that are consistent, even if they are few. This is the encouragement that we all need, inshallah, to pick something easy and manageable. It doesn't have to feel like a mountain on our back. It doesn't have to be the biggest goal. Something small, easy, manageable that we can keep consistent, inshallah. So pick those goals. There were some examples throughout the video where you could pick something else, inshallah. Pick things that you want to keep consistent, and don't ever minimize how small it is, because Allah loves those deeds that are consistent. It doesn't matter how small it is. So inshallah, let's take this as the encouragement that we need to keep the vibe and energy of Ramadan throughout the rest of the year, inshallah, so that when we enter the next Ramadan, inshallah, we are better versions of ourselves than how we were when we entered this past Ramadan, inshallah. So let's keep encouraging each other, inshallah, and make those small changes. Every small little bit counts. As-salamu Aleikum.